In this section, we will be covering the extension of tables. You can create a table extension to extend a table's design and logic. In addition, you can expand queries for ranges and data source objects. Let's take a look at some areas for table extension that are possible in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations development. You can add new fields and field groups. You can also add indexes and mapping, table relations, new fields to existing field groups. You can also change the label of a table field. And lastly, you can change the created by, date, time, modified by date, time properties. In Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations, you use extensions to implement event handlers that are called from the base implementations of the table methods. Here you can see in this table a list of table methods and its events. So we can see this in the designer in Visual Studio. So we can see here we have our publish table method, which we have validate write, delete, validate field. We also, of course, have our insert, update, delete as well. And then we have the preceding and succeeding events for each of these. So for validate write, we would have our validating and validated. For validate field, we'd have validating and validated, and so on. Validation events capture and return results by using the data event args parameter. The display and edit method modifiers are supported on table extensions. So here we can see the publish table method of final delete validation, insert validation, final read validation, and the final update validation. It'll be noticed that of course there is no succeeding event, but we do have our preceding event. So for instance, for our final delete validation, this is executed when a delete operation is performed on a table object before the operation is committed to the underlying table database. And then we have the insert, we also have the read and the update operation. You can extend a query element to achieve a lot of different things. First, you can add ranges to an existing data source. You can add a new embedded data source to an existing data source. And lastly, you may want to add new fields to an existing data source. Let's take a look at doing this in Visual Studio. We'll now take a look at adding a display method. A display method is used to display a calculation or data from another table. The method modifier display is added to the beginning of the method definition line to allow the return value to be displayed on a form. Display methods can be created either on a table or on a form data source. If it is created on the form data source, then it takes the table as a parameter. If possible, a display method should be created on the table itself. But there are situations where it has to be on the form data source. So for example, if it uses an unbound control on the form. We do not have the option to create methods on table extensions, so we should use the extension class to do so. Extension methods enable you to extend tables by creating a new display and edit methods on these. The example on the screen here shows how to create a display method on the table extension class and use the form extension. So here we can see the data method property on our table extension. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to extend a table in Visual Studio. So I have my project open here and we're going to extend the FM customer table. So in the Application Explorer, I'm going to go ahead and search for that table and I'm just going to go ahead and type in type. We're looking for a table, so I'll put that in quotes. And then after the quotes, I'll then type in FM cust and click enter. So here we have the FM customer table. So I'm just going to go ahead and right click it and create an extension. Now it's important to note if I was not referencing the fleet management model in my model that I've created, I would not be able to create that extension. So we now have our table extensions and I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this FM customer.extension and you can see when I create the extension, it'll add the .extension suffix to the end of this as well. So now we can see all of our fields and all of the fields that are italicized, we know they're basically base fields that were derived from the FM customer table. So I can go ahead and start adding fields if I wanted to as well to this. So if I right click, I can say new, and I can create an EDT directly from here. I can also grab an EDT that I already have created within my project. So let's just create an EDT that we may want to add to our FM customer table. So I'm going to right click on the project. We'll go to add new item. I'm going to go to data types, and let's go ahead and do an EDT string, and let's see what kind of fields we have. Let's add a field for customer birthday. So we'll say FM customer birthday. And I'll go ahead and select this one as an EDT date so that the user in the user interface can select from a date. So that's now been created. I can then go ahead and set some properties for this EDT. So I can then go ahead and specify, alignment, display length, and add a label. So let's add a label because that's important. All right, and I'll just go ahead and save that. And I'll close it. And so now let's say we want to add that new EDT that we've created to our table. I can just easily perform a click and drag and drop that field into my table. And so I've now added this FM customer birthday EDT to my table. I can then also go ahead and add this to my field groups as well. So maybe I want to drag and drop this field into the auto report field group as well. So I can do that as well. So that's how we can extend a table in the Visual Studio Development environment. And of course, I would do a save and build.